coming up on Midway, the movie Midway, Roland Emmerich's Midway. And I thought, look, we're probably going to get around to Pearl Harbor at some point, so let's just do it now.
Let's transition to full dad. Just talk about movies that are about war. Here we
right.
go.
Anyway, if you give this video a like, that would help out greatly because yeah, we are talking about Michael Bay's Titanic. Titanic in the sense that he tried to make his version of Titanic, and also
It's titanically long.
Yeah,
this movie,
and it's a Titanic fuck up in a lot of ways.
Well, I've never actually seen Titanic. Going
What?
into this, I haven't.
I'm gonna be that guy for a second.
Yeah, of course. Here we go.
Oh my god, Mason! I can't believe you didn't see Titanic. If you're typing that, you don't have to now because I'm that guy now.
Appreciate that. Thank you, James. I just never got around to it. Anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Sure, you get the references.
I get the references, but I also get the reference that this is clearly Michael Bay, I assume, and his producers going, that movie made a lot of money and got a lot of Oscars. We can do this. Newsflash, they can't do this. It feels like it's Oscar bait. Like
absolutely.
This is an attempt at Oscar bait by a man who does not know how that works.
It's funny though because you mentioned Oscars. This is the only Michael Bay film to ever win an Oscar. Do you want to know what it was for though?
Yeah, cinematography?
Sound editing. So probably something he didn't have a massive hand in, I'd
Sure,
imagine.
right.
But he'll take it. The thing about this is, what bothers me about this film... Look, also, I don't think it's the worst movie ever made. There's a lot of things I take issue with. But it's so saccharine and earnest. It's sickening in points.
It really is, yeah. I feel like maybe even Michael Bay sent somebody out to watch Titanic and then write down all the key elements of Titanic and then just like check
love
them
story,
off. Love story,
sinking boat, love triangle. And he went, I can do a love
Poor
triangle.
kid triumphs? Is that what happens in...
Sure.
And then falls off a boat? That happens, right?
That happens, that's correct, yeah. You have seen Titanic.
There's a moment near a boat and then there's a love situation on a boat and then they're on a little elevator thing and then it falls into the water.
It all happens.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the cast in this is incredible.
It
Do you
really
mind
is.
if I rattle some of these off?
I'll rattle some off also.
Ben Affleck.
Dan Aykroyd.
That's very good. Jennifer Garner, where they met actually. Dan Aykroyd and Jennifer Garner. That's where
good
they
for
met.
them. Wow. They shared a Crystal Head vodka. That's interesting because they're not the
love
They're not the love
no.
interests of one another.
No, she's kind of plays a minor role. Kate Beckinsale.
Oh, that's who that is.
Josh Hartnett.
They're all looking so young and thin and glossy. Dan Aykroyd especially.
Yeah, that's right. You know it's a Michael Bay film because everybody has that same spray tan.
Yeah.
Like the ghostly white teeth, just blinding, and the rich golden skin.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Cuba Gooding Jr., Michael Shannon,
Yeah.
Mako, Spud from Trainspotting, Alec Baldwin,
Yes.
Sean Gunn apparently as Traction Sailor. I couldn't find him in the movie, but he's in it.
Oh, he's a tank tread.
Oh, okay, very good.
They CGI'd him in.
There's so many hot names in this.
Oh my god, A-listers are plenty.
If we're talking the story, it's Pearl Harbor basically, but there's a bunch of historical inaccuracies which I'll get to.
What I wanted to get to first is that this movie felt incredibly Michael Bay-y to me.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's a true historical event. America especially would say, well, it didn't go well.
No.
To put it mildly, this did not go well for a lot of people.
Yeah, they were sucker punched essentially.
It was a huge tragedy for a lot of people, but I feel like at some point he went, how about Pearl Harbor? What if we won though? And they went, that's a bridge too far in terms of accuracy. And he went, all right, what about after that we win one?
And they're like, all right,
we'll put a bit at the end where we win one.
And I think that's what really hurts this film for me because after the Pearl Harbor attack, which is quite spectacular, like visually pretty good.
And for a Michael Bay movie, a lot of this action made sense.
You can see what's happening.
You can see what's happening. You know where most of the people are at the time.
But there's a full hour after it happens.
Yeah.
They really bad boys to it, which is another Michael Bay film. But it really drags. And it's one of those things where, like, you don't really need to show any of this because we know they won.
Speaking of bad boys, I feel like in the Ben Affleck character, Michael Bay has decided to encapsulate both the Will Smith and Martin Lawrence characters because he is handsome and capable and strong and brave, but also he's getting a needle in his butt and he's falling over. You know, just put them together, and what do you get? You get a real handsome lunkhead.
That's not incorrect. I love how he goes over to England to fight against the Nazis, and the leader of that squadron is just the most British, sooty-faced, like tea-sipping, scarf-wearing English guy you've ever seen.
He's a leather-bound book in human form.
He really is. And it's got one of those lines in it that just makes me go, oh my God. Where he says something like, if there are many more of you back home with you, God help anyone who goes to war with America. It's like, oh my God. Like, it's true.
Yeah.
Like, they made a massive mistake bringing America into World War II.
For sure.
It's a little bit on the nose to be like, you're a hero, Ben Affleck, so that must mean everybody.
He is also a hero
He's
in
also
America.
a hero,
Yeah.
that's
This
right.
is my favorite line from Pearl Harbor
Here we go.
that I wrote down. This is after Ben Affleck's character is shot down and everyone thinks he's dead. And then Kate Beckinsale, the love of his life, receives some mail from him posthumously. And there's a line where another character says, "You know how long it takes mail to get here." Just to make it clear to us, the viewer, who is an idiot, it's not Ghost Ben Affleck sending these letters.
No.
He sent them before he died.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're just getting here because you know how long it takes the mail to get
I
here.
know, a long time.
Yeah.
We talked about the action, though. There's some stuff in here for 2001. It's incredible. The first ship that gets hit, you see the bomb drop through it.
Yes.
And the way it rises and buckles and breaks.
Yeah,
It's incredible. Like, it's a mostly CGI shot. Like, a lot of the stuff they used, like, real ships. Apparently, a lot of it's just modern-day warships that they just went, good enough. No one's going to notice.
All
They
right,
didn't really
okay.
bother to really. They just put some flags on them. It does really feel like in the destruction moment that this is like Titanic too. You know, there's a moment where an explosion goes off and like 4 guys hit a propeller. I'm sure you remember the bit from Titanic where a single guy hits a propeller. Well, what if 4 men hit a propeller at once?
Yeah, right,
After an explosion.
And there's that moment initially where like the first torpedo hits the first ship and like there's 2 guys just hanging off the side of the ship and they just disintegrate.
Yeah.
And it's it's spectacular, but it's also, it feels really like we're really reveling in like
Yeah.
a horrible thing. Like it looks amazing, it looks beautiful, and it looks
glossy and
and
tan
and
fun in the sun.
and like visceral and powerful, but it's also real people
It's a-
dying.
real people died,
you know?
exactly, yeah. But I guess the same could be said for Titanic, but it felt like there was more of reverence associated with that film than there was this. And I guess also that was further back. So people are like, yeah, we don't really remember that. There was no footage. We don't
Yeah, exactly.
We don't really know. So one of my favourite lines, if we're talking favourite lines in this, is there's a soldier who gets taken to Kate Beckinsale. When he's like, am I going to die? Am I going to die? And she's like, you're going to be fine. And then she draws a big F on his head and goes, this guy's going to die. You just give him some morphine. And he's right there. Like, he's still standing in front of him. What did you think of the love story element of this? It's the Josh Hartnett.
Oh, it's a
Ben
triangle, isn't it?
Affleck,
Yeah.
Kate Beckinsale. Who do you want her to end up with? Who do you want them to end up with? Each other? Potentially.
Oh, maybe.
I feel like they're glossy enough to be together.
Yeah, maybe this could be some sort of post-World War II throuple. You know what I mean?
Love it. Yeah, did you buy any of that situation? I think there is definitely some charm to those characters. And I think a lot of that's probably down to the acting.
Yeah,
you know, like
for
when
sure.
I see them on screen, I'm not like,
Yuck.
fuck these people.
Right.
You know, then they seem nice and fun, and they're just having a go
But
at
that's
it.
just beautiful people doing beautiful people stuff. What you want is you want at least one massive Argo in there.
Oh, there's a few. I would say, yeah.
I mean, in the main 3.
Oh, in the main
In
3.
the main 3, and then you'd be like, well, one of them has to have a really good personality.
Yeah, that's probably a very, very good point. But apparently, people didn't like the love story at the time.
Is this meant to mirror the Titanic love story, where I know there's DiCaprio,
Yes.
and there's Winslet,
Yes.
and there's Billy Zane.
That's right.
Beautiful Billy
I guess
Zane.
so. But again, like,
But he's a villain.
he's a villain.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right, mhm. In a way, when you steal your best friend's girl, aren't you a villain of the caliber of Billy Zane?
At the time, critics were like, this love story sucks. But Michael Bay has framed it as, well, it's like a 1940s love serial story kind of situation. That's why, like, the champagne cork goes up and hits Ben Affleck in the nose. and
Yeah,
those
it's a
kind-
bit slapsticky.
Yeah, I don't think it's the worst thing in this movie. I'm like, yeah, I've seen worse love stories than this.
Do we want to hear some more quotes from Michael Bay
Oh my
about,
God,
about
you
the
know
production
I
of the
do.
movie? This isn't actually from Michael Bay. This is from Casey Hodenfield, who was he's assistant director. He's been a producer on assorted Transformers movies and things like that.
Love it.
So speaking of Michael Bay saying that this is meant to be, it's like a serial, like a 40 serial kind of movie. According to KC, this was going to be like a classic movie, according to Michael Bay. The first day we started shooting, so day 1, he wasn't using his fast-moving, fast cuts, low shots, his bag of tricks, and it was like watching an Italian speak without his hands. By lunchtime, we're making a Michael Bay movie in the Michael Bay style. So he didn't even last a day. He's like, this is going to be a classic movie, bloody 1930s black and white.
Yeah.
But by after lunch, he's like, no, we're just going to do
Let's get everybody get out of the
Do a-
car and we'll film the
a helicopter shot around it. Yeah, exactly. But that's so
I
that's,
didn't get that sense that it was ever that kind of movie.
well, maybe in another lifetime. But so that's according to his assistant director. According to Michael Bay himself, post the release of this movie, he actually said, "I don't change my style for anybody. Pussies do that." So who's to believe?
Who is to be believed?
Shall we believe?
Oh, look. Now, this movie, though, it's not without its troubles. For one, everybody hates this movie in general. There's some that regard it as a guilty pleasure. I would say you could definitely fit it into that category. First of all, guilty pleasure is not something I believe in. You can just like what you want.
Just like what you like, yeah.
The other thing is, it was made for $149 million, which was the highest amount given to a film up front for it to be made. It's actually a Disney production as well, believe it or not. But it only made $449 million, which is good, but they were like, we'll do $2 billion out of this. Like,
Titanic, they were like, we'll
do
Titanic money, yeah.
And the total amount of money spent on this production and promotion roughly equaled the amount of damage caused in the actual Pearl Harbor attack.
No.
I mean, adjusted for inflation, obviously not. But yeah, those things are quite similar.
Now imagine going back in time and telling all the brave soldiers that lost their lives there. That's fun fact.
Yeah, that's it. Michael Bay also became frustrated with Josh Hartnett's serious approach to acting, if you can believe such a thing. So much so that when he caught him smiling on film, he said, "Send that to ILM and tell them to copy and paste it."
Oh,
brilliant. And you were talking about before shooting before. There was actually a Hawaiian priest who blessed the crew, a practice that is recommended, by the locals to be like, this is a sign of good luck and fortune, and it's it's a sign of respect.
Okay, this was gonna happen, you're saying?
Well, it did happen. The ceremony took place on the first day of principal photography and lasted over 4 hours, much to the chagrin of Michael Bay, whould been told it was only going to take 15 to 20 minutes. So can you imagine? That probably, no doubt, led to his like, okay, we're going to take this slow, and we're going to, I'm not going to use any of my bag of tricks. That he's like, 4-hour ceremony. Nah, I'm just doing what I want to do.
This movie's so long.
Yeah.
I went into this going, well, Michael Bay movies, they're long.
Yeah.
3 hours is too long.
I think though, because it's broken up into parts, it doesn't feel so much like one of the bad Transformers movies, which is most of them.
I guess that's probably true. Yeah.
Because when it's just jagged metal rolling on top of each other and someone going, Optimus!
Yeah.
It's a lot. It gets a lot, you know what I mean? But the battle sequence is very much like, this is like the 40-minute section of
well,
this
that's
movie,
true.
Yeah.
But also, who's out there going like, today I'm just going to watch the 40-minute battle sequence from Pearl Harbor? Kind of creeps that.
I bet some people do. Again, it's visually, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
This has got one of those things that it really bothers me about World War II, and that's that where Josh Hartnett says the line, "I think World War II just started," even though this movie set in 1941 and World War II had been going for 2 years. Up to that point.
You're saying that's way too America-centric. It's not World War II until the Americans get involved.
I mean, they were a vital component of winning the war. Probably the most vital component in the end. But just to be like, none of that shit counts.
Yeah.
That happened prior to this. This is where it happens. All right, I got some historical inaccuracies here. Let me just say up top, I didn't get them all. So don't fucking at me with your specifics about Pearl Harbor. I just picked some interesting ones, all right?
Okay.
That includes you too, Mason.
All the facts.
That's right, here we go. The scene that shows the Japanese planes attacking the hospital caused a great uproar, both in Japan and among Pearl Harbor veterans, because that never happened.
Yeah, I believe that's true. Like, that I think the Japanese didn't target any civilians. They only killed a couple of people by accident, I think.
That's right. And Michael Bay kind of put it down to, well, this kind of raises the stakes of this situation by adding this horrible...
By making Japanese people more evil.
Yes, than this event already was. Japanese journalists were also extremely offended by the fact that the army is shown having meetings outside. Meeting outsides are considered to be uncivilized and barbaric in Japan. I say kick your shoes off, roll in the grass, have a meeting out there, though.
That's right.
That inaccuracy I will let slide.
Absolutely plan your tactics for the destruction of the United States over a game of hacky sack. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. Now, there's a lot of stuff in this that's like, hey, that plane wasn't around then. Like the crop duster, for example, you couldn't get it for home use until like much later than it appears in the film and things like that. So things like some characters were smoking Marlboro Lights in the film, Dan Aykroyd wearing rimless glasses. These things weren't available in the 1940s, if you can believe that.
That rocket pack the Rocketeer was wearing.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Not even a real thing, it turns out.
Did I fall asleep? I must have fallen asleep during that bit.
Oh my God, he rocketeers so many people.
It was illegal for American citizens to fight for another country while the US remained neutral on penalty of losing their citizenship.
Oh, but he just goes right over
He just wants to
United
get in the
Kingdom.
action, yeah. All the radio stuff is wrong, like the types of radios. I'm not going to get into the specifics. I read it and I went, I'm not even going to touch that.
How do you feel about the news announcer's voice in this movie?
I don't even remember.
He's like, hello. He's one of those guys.
That's accurate, I
that's
guess.
absolutely accurate, isn't it? Yeah.
A historian, Nicholas Evan Sarantak, said, there was a US naval base in Hawaii. It was called Pearl Harbor. The Japanese did attack with planes on December 7th.
Checks out so far.
Other than that, the movie is bad history. But I think this is a good place to kind of wrap things up because according to Michael Bay, after the film came out, he got a letter from Daniel Martinez, the world's foremost expert on Pearl Harbor and the director of the Pearl Harbor Museum. And in the letter...
Oh, I wonder what he's got to say.
Well, in the letter, Bay says that Martinez wrote, "You got the essence of what happened right." And there's a lot of like, reading through the trivia, there's a lot of like, well, I got a letter and they said that actually I did a really good job. You know what? I spoke to some fans and they were there and they
Some
also
fans of
said,
war.
and they said I did a really good job. Yeah.
Can we see the letters, Michael Bay?
Actually, they're at my girlfriend's house in Canada.
No.
My Canadian girlfriend, you haven't met her, but we've been going steady since high school.
What's she do for a job?
She's a model, international.
It's really great. So I could probably like find her on the internet or something.
Well, this was obviously pre kind of internet, and she does a lot of her work in Dubai and things like that.
Yeah,
a lot of jet setting back and forth. Yeah,
busy. Okay. All right.
All in all, they made this, didn't they?
Absolutely
It's
made it. No one can deny that they made this movie.
Yeah, there are better World War II films. I mean, you could go like your Saving Private Ryan, obviously. You could go Wind Talkers with
Sure.
Nicolas Cage. Don't go that one. It's a bad one. The Thin
You
Red...
go Overlord.
You could, I would say so. At least it just goes whatever.
Yeah,
Overlord
right.
knows exactly what it is.
No, that's a historical epic.
Yeah.
It says so at the start.
Something that I've definitely come around on that I saw when I was young and then watched more recently is The Thin Red Line, which is like an excellent depiction of World War II and like the mental struggle of being in this conflict. So I'd say if you want to watch an action-packed, non-stop entertainment roller coaster, Wind
Great
Talkers,
Escape. Oh.
Great Escape. But if you want to watch the clip of the battle of Pearl Harbor, you can do it on YouTube as well. Just watch that
Probably
clip.
on movie clips, trailers.
You know it is. Anyways, this has been Caravan of Garbage. Believe it or not, we do this every week. And there's also videos here every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And in addition to that, we have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. Anyways, I'm at Mr. Sunday Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Wikipedia Brown on Twitter.
We appreciate you enduring this with us.
We love you.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
As a friend or real?
Romantically, no, all of them.
And it's a triangle.
Only if you give a like.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
Oh, we hate your guts. Get out of here.
Goodbye.
You know how long it takes mail to get here.